What up,
Well,
poetry lovers?
you gotta tell me. I'm gonna talk first, and then I'm gonna introduce you. I didn't know you was gonna introduce me because
Excuse
you said let's
me.
go, and I was ready to go.
That's mad wild, Didi. I'm the host. Let me host
Okay,
you.
hang up the
No,
recording
this.
and start again.
No. Oh, no. This is going in there. They don't listen. The rate I get is the rate I get, and
Heard.
here we go. We going. We going.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
As I was saying, poetry lovers, welcome to Beatnix on the Road, a virtual poetry tour where every episode we stop in a different city, chill with poets of that scene, and learn the intrinsic characters that they are. And today we are stopping in Boston, and our first poet is Didi Delgado, an old friend of mine. Didi,
Well,
how
y'all
you
can hold
doing?
applause. I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Okay.
See, there you go. Not holding applause. Hold applause like a
No,
newborn
no, no.
baby.
Please clap. Everybody, please clap. I'm that person. Okay.
Didi Delgado is a writer, activist, freelance journalist, poet, and that person. I added that part. Co-founder of SOUP, the Society of Urban
Sue.
Poetry, SOUP, a collection of artists and musicians whose mission statement is to help shed light on the diversity amongst creative individuals and groups across gender identity, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, faith, ability, age, and aims to bridge the gap between these intersectionality. Dang, this is hard to read. Deeply passionate about both her local and global community, she believes that poetry and activism go hand in hand. Y'all, I give y'all the Didi Delgado. Let me get out the way.
Years.
Didi, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Of course, I'm ready. I was born ready, like fish on spaghetti. Shout out to G Dep. Nigga, you should rap
Okay.
again. The poems would not come. Not when called, demanded, seduced, begged, and pleaded. They used to come when they could, made it time for pleasantries, stayed for dinner, wore out their welcome. Did not contribute towards the groceries or the rent, made me spend my last to get to the slam. I filled my time with other things in their absence. I'd forgotten what it was like to imagine a different reality for myself or to explain to a group of sometimes strangers what my life had been like. Nigga, the poem used to bleed all over its subjects, all over my fingers when I had memorized them enough not to need the paper or the phone. Some of them had menstrual cycles and didn't wear underwear. There was some with a knife to your neck. They applied pressure and watched you drip. There was a poem with blood in her eyes and kisses that tasted like wet, hot copper. What happened to you guys? Aren't you poems? Why aren't you doing what you're supposed to do and write yourselves? Doesn't the serpent slither on its stomach as punishment for being silent? Ain't water wet and still annoying? Y'all used to be beautiful kamikazes. Bombs dropped on these Normandy niggas. Silencers. So who do poems pray to when I am no longer their god?
No, is that the end of the poem?
You almost made me spit my wine through my nose. I don't like you.
That's OD. Wait a minute. I'm trying to figure out how to come back to it. They can see me. No, that's yo. You've been
I
writing.
wrote that like 4 days ago.
You put the pen in the gym and yo, that's
You wasn't with me shooting in
wild.
the gym? No, I
You
haven't
was
written a poem in
lifting
like 2
weights.
years. It's crazy. So I was like, if I'm having writer's block, what do I write about? I'm gonna write about the
Aren't
fucking
you
block.
poems?
Aren't you
Why
poems?
don't you do what you do and write yourself? Doesn't the serpent slither on its stomach as punishment for being silent? Something like that? Bruh. Wow. Because it's so hard to find time to write.
Working. I'm in school full time for my last semester for my bachelor's
Oh
degree.
wow.
I got 80 kids. It's too much.
Not
It's too
80
much.
kids.
Look at me. I be fucking. I'm beautiful. Like it is what it is. So
Well, all right, Didi. What
you
other poems you got for us? Let me get out of your way.
want to hear another poem? Okay.
Please do, please do.
Ooh, okay, so this one is called Karen is Called to the Stand. I don't know. I was thinking about like all the court cases I've been seeing about just like a lot of stuff that goes on, and the person who kills black people is like, if they're not black, they're most likely exonerated, right? And I think about how white women get really upset about that. And so this is called Karen is Called to the Stand. You are Karen the Third, are you not? Your parents received the GI Bill, not reported to unrepentant Negroes. Settled right into the wasp's nest of suburbia, born of unearned privilege and lines so red they must have been painted with the blood of those who were already excluded. But I don't like have a racist bone in my body. So let's discuss the bones in the body, Karen. Is it possible your coccyx doesn't support you rising for justice? Have you ever been told your backbone only exists to support your audacity? Hasn't Black Twitter explained time and time again your phalanges aren't feelings? That they shouldn't dial the police with phony pleas, touch our hair with fervent fascination, or reach for our children when you've yet to apologizing. When you've yet to apologize, we raise your own. But my family didn't like own slaves. What will you take ownership for then, Karen? Did they auction or trade Black lives at the transatlantic bank of the enslaved? Is the family ran
That's
business one of the many
so big.
institutions built on the back of Black folks? Didn't we discuss the proverbial problem of the backbone? Isn't the desire to mimicry and mock the degraded hereditary for you? Dee Dee, it's time to stop being so divisive and like come together. Karen, where were you on the night Dr. Tom smacked the bottom of the first white baby that came out of a nigger gal without her consent? At what time did you call the police? Didn't you hear of the labor or the birth? How can an honest Christian woman bake a rhubarb pie full of lies, then slice it and feed it? I've never seen a solidarity so soiled with silence. Your white feminism is still a suffrage movement living out loud. Your tears are rivulets of regrets that do not equate to reparations. Do not pretend you are two out of spoons to have this conversation, all while accusing us of stealing the silverware anyway.
Uh, Dee Dee, what happened? Yo, like you said you haven't been writing?
This was 2 years
Well,
ago, but I haven't
nah.
really performed it ever. I wrote it in a newsletter and I let it go.
Oh my goodness, I don't know where to start. We never owned slaves. Then what will you take accountability for or ownership of? What did you say? Ownership
I
of?
said, what will you take accountability for?
That's wild. Oh my goodness. What a poem. Yo, Dee Dee, you wrote that in 2022? Yeah, I'd never heard that. Man, oh, okay. I need to know in the comments, what do y'all think? Out of those two poems, which one do you think went harder? Like, because I didn't, yo, dang, those are like two home runs for real. Oh, that's so good. All right. Um, so earlier we were talking a little bit about what the poetry scene was like in Boston. And I reckon things like anywhere have been hard post pandemic. But like, yeah, I haven't been back since before the pandemic. What is the poetry scene like out there now, DD?
You haven't been back for anybody but me. So I feel like I've been back and forth in Boston. I went to Albany for like 2 years and then I was like, I gotta go back home. I went to Boston and my house got shot up. Like 30 bullets went into my house.
What?
Um, yeah, I don't even want to. I'm just letting you know that's what happened, and that's why I moved to where I live now. I'm still in New England, but I just don't live in Boston right now. But I know that um
Mm, I'm
right
sorry. That's
around
terrible.
thank you. It's okay. Right around the beginning of 2022, I had already started talking with other Boston poets. I was like, yo, we gotta do something. I was like, I'm really tired of like our scene is so black and then the audience members are like so white. Like, the people who can afford to come, like I said, we gotta do something. So I was able to get a grant, Boston Cultural Council gave us a $28,000 grant. We had people like Amanda Shea come, and
Hey.
it was for Juneteenth. I put on a Juneteenth slam. I said my goal is to give money, make a free show for the community, and give money away to poets who just they bleed these poems, like they bloodlet these poems, and y'all just be like, y'all all right, come back tomorrow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's what we did. I think I gave $1,500 as the first prize, $800 as the second prize, $500 as the third prize. I was like, everybody got paid, from like the restaurant, whoever. I was like, we making money, we pouring money back into the community. And Ebony Magazine scared the shit out of me. They were like, want to know what to do on Juneteenth? Go see Didi Delgado in Boston. And that shit felt really good. Like, post pandemic, I feel like we still in the kind of like snob phase. And when I say snob phase, I don't want nobody to get offended, but when I say snob phase, it's like everybody knows everything and doesn't really know shit. You know, we still doing that. Like, I've got a social distance from you, even if
Mm.
there's nothing to distance myself about. It's just, I know I should be separate from you. And I think that that goes to speak about
Mm.
the problem with individuality. Individuality is great, but there's a problem with it when the individual can't be responsible for nobody but themselves. The individual, if you're part of a collective, got to also be responsible for the collective, because the collective has a responsibility to the individual, or should. But let's not get into a conversation about capitalism and imperialism. So there's that.
Hmm. Well, thank you for the glimpse into the Boston poetry scene. Cause yeah, I haven't been in a minute. I don't know if anyone else watching is.
I think old heads are starting to come back out. I know that Ja D, if you could feel it, you could speak it. You know, I still got my ear to the street. Thank you to Crystal.
Hmm.
Now for the butterfly, she was like, oh, they did a reunion slam. And I was like, so if I come back, I'm only an hour and a half away. If I come back, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Let me know what we're doing. Or is the community even open and receptive to that? Because it's like the world is very different than it was 2 years ago. And then 2 years ago, the world was very different from what it was 2 years before that. So
Hmm. So then by the time they see this episode, the
but
scene might
not
have
by the
changed
time they see
again.
this episode. Tony, if you don't get the fuck out of here.
All right. What do you got for us for your last poem, Didi?
My last poem is a poem for my daughter. My daughter
Oh.
is now 7, but I wrote this poem when I was pregnant with her. And my child's father and I had a course together through the city of Boston. We got a scholarship to attend the poet laureate's like 6-week course on how to write better poems. And I made the poem bleed. You understand what I'm saying to you? So I'd like to share this with you if I could.
Go for it.
An apology letter to my unborn child and to your father, to Egypt. Little one, pearls are stars on the night of your skin. Aurelian, African, Aztec, Aphrodite. The oracles say that your father is either Zeus or Uranus. I would prefer if it turns out to be the latter, because telling people you were born out of castrated foam is much easier than God again. In time, though, your origin will not matter because you are Aphrodite. And my Piscean parrotfish swam until it was 36,000 feet deep. Upon hearing the sound your heartbeat sang to my ears, I still find myself swimming amidst all this newfound pressure. I'm now aware I could never stop loving your Sagittarian ocean. You are your mother's salvation. I find myself immediately responsible for penning you a Bible, documenting all of your first words in red ink, collecting snapshots of how healing the sick will begin in the feathering of your first breath. But my first failing was not security blanketing you with a family. Your aunt says I am brave for traveling this road alone. I tell her I'm probably a cowardly lioness looking for a wizard to give me courage. I'm hoping to obtain a small box of it before I even have to look you in your eye. And I apologize, baby, for introducing you to the subject of insolvency before you even reach kindergarten by not choosing to breed with education, success, bankroll, love, or shit, even humanness. And other children will laugh at you. but forgive them because I know they have never seen a merlion before. Show them your crocodile teeth if you want them to shut up. Your father has yet to teach you how to cold-bloodedly swallow your prey whole. And to your father, I apologize for not thanking you until now, for giving me this blessed burden masked as your entire life ruination.
Everyone, Didi Delgado, thunderous applause, and go. Yo, Didi, where can the people find you? How can they support you?
This is Egypt. That came out of nowhere, I swear to God. Y'all can
Oh
find
my
me on all
God.
socials. Say hi, booty. Y'all can find me on all socials at the Didi Delgado, TheDididelgado. Yeah, that's where I'll be at.
That's how they can find you. But you be doing a lot of important work for the community. I see y'all. How can they support that?
You can follow us at Restore Incorporated, or you can go to my website, thedididelgado.com, which has links to Bing Bang Boom, all that. I support Black women and Black children, period, poo.
Thank you, Didi. All right,
Thanks, Tony.
McPherson. Of course, it was my pleasure always. But McPherson, who are you with now? And that's it. I yo. Well, McPherson, I am here with Nava the butterfly. As a mother of five, acclaimed poet and published author, Nava the butterfly continues to balance the demands of family life, creative pursuits, and providing for her loved ones. Undaunted, she's determined to maintain her role as both a slayer of stanzas and a dedicated caretaker. In 2021, Nava released her first book, Black Cocaine and Colorless Butterflies. What a title! Nava, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Splendid, but I'm very excited to hear this set of poems you're gonna bless us with.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's see this Boston magic. Poetry lovers, I give y'all Nava the butterfly.
Hello. I'm going to recite a poem that I wrote for autumn, and it's called A Parade for Autumn. It is September, and the harvest air, misty and magnificent. It deserves a celebration, a poem, or a parade. And I am an emotional poet in need of no band. I march to the beat of my own heart. I march alongside the autumn equinox, and I am flush from its rays and inspired to throw words around like confetti, with all of your thoughts in mind. My poems are jaded, and the loudest voice a revolution has ever heard. They're entwined with ink, time, and divine impulses to show you that I am more mystical than an onyx mermaid washed up on a moonlit shore, more reflective than a river laid to rest in frostbites. Mirroring is one of my many hidden talents. I love seeing myself in your drum roll faces like a soaking wet replica, fading into my own parade, accompanied by nothing more than a colorful dream of eye-catching metaphors, making others think of me as a sonneteer. But I assure you, I am a wild writer who take chances with words and create mirages to send chills down your spine to restore your backbone. A poet never truly sees the person, just held breath of poetic fibers that help us welcome a bewildered autumn day, giving October its brilliant hue in a parade of pharaoh falling leaves surrounded by wounded sunflowers. And in that moment, we trust the change in the gifted season as we trust the gentle breeze as it coasts across our faces, and we smile as we play our part in giving autumn its flowers.
Sheesh. Not you brushing the hair out your face. Like you know what you just did to us. Anyway, mess with that if you can. All right. Really quick, what is an onyx mermaid?
So, one thing that we talk about in workshops,
Mhm.
you don't want to be too obvious or too cliche. So you want to make it sound like it has bite in a place of its own.
Hmm.
So instead of saying a black mermaid, you switch it out with onyx.
Okay. Right, right. Um, oh, let me see if I can think of an example. Like, no, I can't think of one. I can't think of one. Um,
And
let
you
me
can
see. No, I can't think about it. Oh, you know what? I remember in a poem I had um with Rico Frederick. We we were saying like a random like we were talking about like giving gifts to a woman that we love, and we were like, I want to give you like chocolate fireworks and stuff like that. Like, what does that even mean? But you know what that means, yo. Poetry, it's where reality and the surreal intersect. You know what I'm saying? I have one more question. Um, and I feel like I know what this one is, but just wanted to bring it to the forefront because I thought it was really cool. What would you describe a drum roll face to be?
a drum roll face is like if you look at a crowd, when you're performing, every head is doing something, either or just, like people's, when you're looking at the audience, their head's doing something. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So that's why I
okay.
say drum roll faces, because
Oh,
everybody's
yeah,
doing
that's
something
crazy.
different
That's
in the audience.
good. I didn't see you. I thought it meant like you got the audience waiting, like
Double entendre.
this is this is me waiting for your next poem.
It could be a double meaning. Wow.
I'm gonna hide myself because I'm waiting for the next poem.
Wow. Yeah.
No, but dead ass. What's the next poem?
So I am the biggest Prince fan in the world. I need you to understand this. I met him 3 times. He invited me to go to New York for a rehearsal, just 100 of us. And it was just the most amazing time. And he looks like an angel. He looks like all the things, okay? So this poem is called A Poem for Prince.
Let's go.
Um, did you know Prince can play over 27 instruments? And one time in an interview, he said, dead silence is music too. I never really understood what it meant, but here's a poem for Prince. Dearly beloved, I believe it was the sawdust of summer when I found your voice in the shadow of a song. You sang so beautifully of lilacs and photogenic water. You built harmonies powerful enough to save angels and their demons in a storm. Quickly, I caught on, held tightly to your butterflies' cleverly named lyrics. You spoke of love like you had a doctorate. I thought for men, love was this learning curve, but no, no, there you were, and all your ruffles and lace, proving me wrong. You didn't just create music and magic by the sweat of your brow, no. You birthed an ocean of colors out of sound and called them stories. In your highness, I got caught up in your reign. So when you perished, I was faced with a hurdle my heart couldn't jump. I felt like I was treading water. I didn't know how to outswim these many tears. And at one point, I swear to you, watch this. I was seeing paisley hallucinations. You've always painted pictures that seem more real to me than life itself. In my mind, you were a limitless rainbow, something familiar, something from both worlds. Prince, you are the definition of fluidity. You blur lines between gender, genre, reality, and fantasy. So when it comes to you, I wear your songs in my ears like heirlooms. And from what I can hear, your music is similar to how God speaks. I bet you discovered the guitar inside of a black deity and the piano inside of a white devil's broken heart. Prince, I bet you can play almost anything, even strumming the petals of fossilized flowers. So tell me, when did you get tired of playing love songs? And where was your accountability partner the day it happened? When did balancing the moon and a microphone become all too much for you? Prince, who choked the life out of your vocal cords? I would give almost anything to hear you live again. Oh, wait, I think I get it. Going back to your interview, teach us dead silence is music too.
Yo, that's OD. What are you talking about? Not the dead silence being music. You brought it back, bruh. Yo, let me start talking because I feel like people get annoyed with the befuddled host, but I am befuddled, homie. Um, I want to talk about one line in particular, which was, I bet you can play anything, even the, what'd you say, the petals of fossilized flowers? Okay, I need you to tell me, like, what was the music playing when you wrote that line? What were you smoking? How high was the bottle of wine? Where was Mercury in the sky? How many candles did you have lit? What was the scent of incense burning? Like, how did you curate the environment for the pen to be like, yeah, I'm gonna move in the shape of that sentence because that's OD.
Well, Prince was very big on flowers, and he did colors and flowers, and he also has music that is scary, like
Mm,
almost gothic and got scary subjects. It's one called There's Others Here With Us, very scary song. So it reminds me of the fossilized flowers. And then once again, when you're a poet, you can't be cliches. You can't say the obvious. You
mm.
know.
So like I be disagreeing. I like
Okay.
clarity. I like it to be super clear. But you got
Uh-huh.
me you got me looking in the mirror like, yo, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because it's like I think there's a difference between like it not being clear in one's own head versus it
Yes.
being up for interpretation in the audience's head. And it sounds to me like what it seems like is you know exactly what you mean, but you have like a little scope of grace where it's like you can interpret it your own way though around it. You can be in the solar system of what I intend and it and still be in my orbit. You know what I mean? But yeah, so it's like it's room for interpretation in my head, and that's what makes it interesting versus you not know like you just it's obvious that you're not just saying stuff. So
Right.
yeah.
And what it is that um, I see the world very differently, and I'm an abstract writer.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know how much I can share on here, but okay.
Something. No, what you got? What you got? Give it to us. Give it to us.
So when I was 13, I was diagnosed with dysrealization, dispersonalization. It's basically when you don't see the world like everyone else and you're kind of detached. It's almost like a whole nother, not, it's like a whole nother world going on in your head, but you're very present with the reality that you're in, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So I write from like this universe of my own imagination instead of the world around me.
Okay. Well, all right, there's a whole other universe in there. So hence, like you just talking might be ethereal. So keep talking and hit us with one more poem.
Okay, so this poem, one of my favorite poets in Boston is Hannah Brown. And like when I heard her writing, I just was just blown. So I was inspired by some of her writings. And I wrote this poem called Windows Down, inspired by Hannah Brown. Windows down, and I insist on whispering through window pane, words that talk to pillows, words that leave lips smothered in honey, lips frozen on cheek and forehead, I only feel them now in salted covered fantasies. I want to know what made you, because I can still feel your soft lips covered, and I can still feel the window in my hand. And I place right hand, front palm on glass that look closely in them. And I imagine I can see their eyes and their windows and their soul. And these tears I cried, it's nothing for me. I just get tired of this romance that I just keep holding on to. I want to ask you, couldn't you think of another word for goodbye that sound more like art? And are you sad and are you sorry or are you both that you left sorrow woven between our hearts? I want to lift this window and ask the wind to carry it and the thought of you away, but this window is hard to open. And my best hand is writing vivid poems about you. And as I write, I am torn apart by the remaining punchline I didn't get a chance to throw at you. And by the way, because of you, I sing tearful lullabies in the key of blues while nearby noble neighbors, they shut their windows. I know they much rather hear jaw-dropping voices singing in the key of evergreen, singing in made-up words like fluty and crystally. But instead, they hear me, and I sound like rain, beating against cardboard boxes taped to windows. I wish my voice was light rung wedding bells. I wish my name was Belle. Then I would sing just as angelic as clouds and earth flowers, just beautiful enough for you to love me. I wish I had you to love me. I wish promises weren't made to be broken. Promises that speak lies through rose-colored tinted windows under your bashful breath mixed with Delgado lines, meaning lines can tell truth as thin as a whisper, and the silhouette of your whisper will forever lay on my mind, and it'll be silent, silent like moving butterfly wings. But I can hear you very, very faint. Nava, open the window. That was real abstract.
Poetry lovers, I give y'all Nava the Butterfly. Well, Nava, where can they find you? How can they support you?
I am on Facebook as Nava the Butterfly, also Crystal Beck, my government. IG, Nava the Butterfly. And TikTok, Nava the Butterfly.
Hey, you be on TikTok, you be doing the dances?
I'm trying to do everything.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, Nava, thank you so much for joining us and giving us some of that Boston magic. And
This has been
no,
fun.
of course. And McPherson, you got one more poet for us? Boom! Come on. All right. Recording in progress. Well, McPherson, funny you should ask. I'm here with Anita D. What's up, Anita? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, we are so blessed. This set is gonna be fire, y'all. Watch. Why is it gonna be fire? Because Anita D is a mother, a spoken word poet, and an author, born and raised in Brockton, Massachusetts. She started writing while in high school, but her career in poetry began in San Diego in 2014. I think I was there when she was first introduced to slam. Over the years, she made multiple slam teams, it's true, and became a national poetry slam finalist as well as an individual world poetry slam finalist. She has toured universities and venues across the country, and her poetry can be found on Button Poetry, All Deaf, and Slam Fine. Anita's work is centered around personal narrative and highlights topics such as mental health, domestic abuse, women's rights, and generational healing. And her book's coming out soon. Poetry lovers, I give y'all Anita D.
Thank you so much. All right, this one, this first poem is, it's either titled Daddy Drinks or A Broken Guzzle. I was 4 years old when I learned how to make a daddy drink. Ice, gin, ginger ale. That's the only thing my daddy drinks. By the time I was 5, I was the youngest bartender on the block. For most of the week, I'd scribble orders in crayon, then run off to the kitchen, pour, mix, and serve my daddy drinks. On the other days, I'd play with Barbie dolls and monster trucks, and my father would go see a real bartender. On those nights, daddy's drinks were poured with heavier hands. My father would always tip until the bottle was empty, and my daddy drinks until he is full of liquor or courage or rage, and it makes him feel good when he has his daddy drink. When I drink, I prefer Hennessy mixed with Hennessy, and it makes me feel good, but not like when my daddy drinks. I am my own bartender, but only on the days that hurt, or the nights I can't sleep, or the weekends, or when I go home and daddy's drinking, I pour a glass and we toast to our problems. Drink until our hearts are warm again and we are both full. I don't get full like when my daddy drinks. When I get full, I am full of liquor, but I am also full of joy and laughter and light. Even if the light is a flame, even if it does burn me or the people I love, but daddy's drink burn more than mine. I know. I've tasted them, seen the flame leap out his mouth and burn a hole in our own family. When my daddy drinks, I take a shot to numb whatever is coming next. I call it support, call it family bonding, and then I call daddy's drinks an addiction. Like I didn't watch it become a fixation, then blame him for his broken. Like I didn't go from being bartender to daddy's drinking buddy, and I like to blame him for a lot of what is wrong with me. And it's similar to how he blames alcohol for a lot of the wrong he's done, but daddy's drinking ain't a problem if you ask him. He's a grown-ass man. And the doctor says it's okay if daddy drinks occasionally. And what is every day but an occasion? An opportunity to feel something or nothing at all. Lately, when my daddy drinks, his body asks him not to. I think it's trying to tell him he's had enough. I think it hurts. And the daddy drinks can't numb the pain anymore. But I still drink the Hennessy. Still tell myself that it burns different than daddy's drink.
Yo, okay. I was the youngest bartender on the block. Scribbled orders with crayon. Yo, you was right. You didn't write that poem with crayon though. That was finesse. That was finesse. So y'all don't know this, but before we jumped on this call, I had the hiccups, and Anita was trying to help me get rid of them so that I wouldn't while reading the bio. And I as soon as I went off, I was hiccuping like a mob. But now they're gone. All I had to do was hear the poem. That was what it was.
That's your
Now
poetry.
now you know. Now you know. Hennessy though. Yeah. Hennessy. You know what? Let's just move on to the next poem. What you got for us? let me get out of the way. I'm just gonna go on ahead.
Okay. This next joint, by the way, we getting all daddy poems. So just take a seat and get ready. All daddy poems. Everybody's probably like, you've done written enough damn daddy poems for your career, but it's not over. Things my father does when he is either angry or drunk. Raises his voice to announce his presence. Demands everyone's respect while he lets them know whose motherfucking house they in. Staggers around the corner, face blood-stained and sweaty. He hits a wall with his fist or with his entire body. He is a furious missile or a stumbling time bomb. Either way, there is always an explosion waiting to happen. To speak to him at all is to set off a detonator and my house be a minefield. So my mama taught me to mind my words. Let him be drunk or angry or both. There is no winning in these kinds of wars, just a battlefield full of wounded memories. The days to follow are always surrounded in silence. He will take time to recover his ego, then remind himself he does not make mistakes. Every drink and every argument are all made with purpose.
Oh wow. So it's gonna be the daddy set for real. We learning about this character. Hold up. Uh-oh. Anita, did we lose you? Oh no. What in the world? Oh man. Hey, we lost you for a second. You back?
Yeah, you were here on my end. Dang. I don't know what happened. It's Brockton.
Okay, Anita, after second poem, we need to make a cut.
My fault.
No, it's okay. Dang. All right, Anita. So is this third poem going to be a poem about your father as well?
Yeah, but it's so it's funny you had I hope the camera caught it, but you had mentioned something about a character. You were gonna
Oh,
learn about this character.
okay, yeah. So time out, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this part because it's a mistake and there's something we can do about it. But yeah, so let's just pretend that there was no error, because on my end I got the full poem.
Okay.
All right, here we go. And action. All right, so Anita, we are really getting into the nitty-gritty on this. There's like a character throughout this set. Well, the characters are your father and yourself. And it's like I don't know, like a character introspection.
Mhm.
Like so why did you decide to make that you were set this way?
So how you mentioned in the beginning real quick, I do have a book that is I'm working on. I am publishing with Button Poetry. I can say that out loud to everybody now. It's super official.
Hey,
So I looked through the book, and which I haven't looked at in a little bit. When I was trying to figure out my set, I wanted to look through my book to see what I could pull from. And I chose these poems because I did want to introduce a character in a way. The way I'm writing my book, it's almost structured like a play. So when you open it, there's a list of characters. And instead of actors playing the characters, there's like emotions or outside factors like alcohol or trauma that affect the character and how they act in the poem.
mm.
All stage directions are haikus
What? Why?
because it's a poetry book, but there's going to
But
be
why?
stage
But why haikus? That's such an interesting choice. I've never seen anything like that.
just because I think stage directions are usually like short and like really like, concise. And so I'm like, oh, well, a haiku is that. So,
Why not?
yeah. And I was like, let me just I also need to take up a little space. So I was like, let me just toss these in here, razzle dazzle with some haikus. But there's like, there's a setting, there's all these characters, and throughout it really goes from my childhood through my adulthood into motherhood, right? So there's all this character development throughout the book. So
Okay.
these poems are pulled from different chapters, I guess, in the book, or chapter's not the right word, because I'm not calling them chapters in the book, but different acts. So each poem is from a different act. So it's kind of like a character building of me and my father and our relationship throughout the years. Like, so I started with childhood and daddy drinks. And now the last one was talking about like me getting into alcoholism as an adult So now I'm moving into healing and trying to heal and break these generational curses.
Okay. So then Act 3, curtain up, spotlight on Anita D. Final poem start.
In the voice of my father's heart. There are 78 organs in the human body. And while each one of us have our own job to do, there are 5 of us that are considered vital in order for the big guy to keep moving. That's brain, lungs, liver, kidneys, and me, heart. Now, he hasn't been the most kind to us over the years. He loves his salty foods and he was a heavy drinker and smoker, so that's taken a toll on us. But he's changed his diet, put down the bottle on most nights. A few years ago, I started not doing so well. Around the same time, my youngest daughter, Anita, and Brain, they got into a few arguments and they stopped talking. Stubborn thing the mind is, to latch on to anger like a cancer, to be so selfish and not consider what it could do to the rest of the body. Doctors say psychological distress can trigger weakness in the heart muscle. One day, I started to feel sluggish. I felt faint and couldn't do my job right. They diagnosed the big guy with congestive heart failure, a chronic condition with a life expectancy of less than 5 years. Says if I don't show up for work, lungs will slowly drown in blood, legs will retain fluid and swell, hypotension will start to set in. If the big guy doesn't get help quickly, we could all be dead in a matter of hours. And now Brain won't stop thinking about memories he hasn't been able to make yet. Says it's up to me to get us there, and I'm trying, but I'm sick and I'm not sure how much longer I have. Liver and lungs can't stop apologizing to me for their cravings over the years. They blame themselves for the damage, but I remind them it is also my job to forgive, to love despite a fault, that we are all in this together. And kidneys are so afraid, feel so overwhelmed every time I start to slow down. When I can't find the strength to flex my valves enough, all the pressure is left on them to do the work, to filter out the overflow of trauma I leave behind, and I break a little more for the body I was built to keep afloat. If I had the power to imagine, I would dream of a second chance to beat from the beginning again. Imagine the vital choices we could have made together to save this man, to give his soul another day to heal, to prosper. What I would give to love my family all over again, or forever if I could. I talk about forgiveness for other organs, as if I myself even know what it means to forgive another living thing outside of my own body, and still I have yet to forgive Brain for his mistake, still blame him for my own downfall. Sometimes I wonder if my children's hearts have taken after me, if they palpulate more anger than joy. I bet that is what actually blocks the arteries, and if the congestion of animosity and pain are the true causes of heart failure, I wonder if that means I still have time to recover, to beat beyond the deadline the doctors have given me. So every day, I still show up to work. And I hope my pulse is strong enough to let go of the past and hold on to forgiveness. I hope I'm strong enough to give the big guy a fighting chance to heal.
Poetry lovers, that was Anita D. Let me know in the comments what you think. Anita, where can we learn more about this book?
My Instagram at Anita D Poetry. I am now forced to talk about it more if I do this. So putting pressure on myself to be more active and post more and be more interactive on social media. But also follow Button Poetry for updates, all updates poetry, follow Button. Yeah.
Okay.
Coming soon.
And how can the folks support you? Just following on Instagram or anything else?
Following on Instagram. If you like what you heard, if you would like me to feature, come out, anything like that, let me know. We can work out some deals. I still love traveling. I got a baby, but We can travel.
Okay, good. Well, you concluded our Boston episode, but you also have experience in San Diego. Would you say the primary differences between the Boston poetry and the San Diego poetry?
Oh my goodness. So I feel like somehow, even though San Diego County is larger, right? Um, Boston poetry almost felt like, from my experience, it feels like a little more spread out. With San Diego, everybody was going to the San Diego Poetry Slam or Elevated back in the day. Shout out to Elevated. Um, Everybody was going there, you know what I'm saying? We were all going to Queen Bee's. So it's like everybody kind of all comes to the same community and it makes networking a little bit easier. There are other open mics in northern San Diego County. But I don't know. For me, it was like one venue and that was my home venue and like everything was done there. I don't have a home venue in Boston, which is weird because like I'm from here. But house, I guess, was my home venue. But you know, the pandemic happened and so I don't and then I don't live in Boston. I live in Brockton. So it's just more difficult for me to get out to those venues. But I will say Brockton is on the come up. Like there's a lot of younger artists that are starting to curate events and perform more. And like I recently learned about an open mic and that goes on every other week out here. So I went there a little while ago and it's really dope just to see like the young artists, like 20-year-olds, like people that when I was their age joining and they're getting up on the mic for the first time. So I'm like, it's really dope because I didn't have that in my city growing up. We never had an open mic in Brockton. So I love to see that now.
So then Massachusetts in general is on the rise. That's what I'm gonna decide to witness. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Anita, thank you so much for your time and for your poems and for curing my hiccups.
You're welcome.
Hey, listen, I just want to thank really quick the Nuyorican Poets Cafe for letting us do our thing and for Mid-Atlantic Group for making this episode possible. Y'all let me know in the comments where you want this virtual poetry bus tour to pull up next, okay? Maybe your city. Let us know. All right. See you on the next episode. And that is 16 bars.
Painted pictures that seem more real to me than life itself.